Okay, when you're ready.
Almost every individual in this room, and even every citizen in this country as a whole, reside in this country because of immigration. For this reason, America is founded upon immigration.
Sorry.
However, despite immigration being the core of American prosperity, it is one of the biggest controversies in American politics. Hello, my name is Hannah Weiss, and today I will be discussing government policy on unauthorized immigration. With unauthorized immigration dominating the scene of American news and politics today, I believe citizens and government office holders alike should consider the question: how can United States policy be changed to reduce the amount of unauthorized immigration into the United States? The need to control the amount of immigration in America began in the early 20th century due to the response of the first major immigration wave. Due to the increasing notoriety of America's economic opportunity and freedom, millions of Europeans began to migrate to America, leading to a huge population spike. This led the Federal Immigration Service to construct the most well-known immigration station in today, which is known as Ellis Island in New York Harbor, which is pictured here. Ellis Island Immigration Station kept records of newcomers coming into America. However, it did not relieve the issue of the rising population. In the latter half of the 20th century, the government began to impose stricter immigration laws due to the continuance of newcomers. In 1952, the Immigration and Nationality Act was put into place. This act consolidated multiple immigration laws and preserved the national origins quota system, meaning that only a certain amount of immigrants were allowed every year. As these stricter laws of immigration arose, though, the problem of unauthorized or illegal immigration began to come up. In response to the illegal immigration increase, the federal government enacted the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, which imposed sanctions on employers who hired undocumented immigrants and sanctions on undocumented immigrants themselves. Over time, unauthorized immigration has exponentially grown. To determine what policies need to be put into place for this issue, it is imperative to know the extent of the issue. According to Jens Krogstad, a researcher at Pew Research Center of Demographics, there are around 10.7 million unauthorized immigrants in the United States, which is currently making up 3% of the total population. Many of these undocumented residents have to work in the United States, and with that being said, there is a reduction in the number of jobs available to American citizens. This means that the unemployed citizens of America do not have as much of an opportunity to receive a job. And with Americans and undocumented immigrants competing over workforce competition, this is creating much conflict. Additionally, if many of the poverty-stricken and unemployed citizens of America could receive a job, it could potentially reduce poverty levels and potentially boost the economy. Along with the drawback of workforce competition, undocumented immigration is also bringing the illegal drug industry into America. According to James and Taylor of the Civitas Institute, federal investigators suppose around 2.2 million kilograms of cocaine and 11.6 kilograms of marijuana have been smuggled across the border, and this was as of the year 2005. The illegal drug industry additionally brings in crime groups such as gangs and the cartel, which is threatening the lives of the American people. As you can see here, this is a chart from Pew Research Center showing the infiltration of the illegal drug industry into America. And as you can see, the red and orange is where most of the illegal drug industry takes place, which is along the southwest border. Many unauthorized immigrants do not come to America for these reasons, however. Many come to find opportunity that was not available in their homeland, although they do not always receive that. Many unauthorized immigrants live a life in low class due to the inability to get anything other than a low-skilled job. Life for most unauthorized immigrants can be portrayed through Richard Blanco's Looking for the Gulf Motel. Mentioned in this poem, many families could not afford to go out to eat, such as his, and many could not afford the certain luxuries that American citizens can afford today. Blanco and his family can be compared to unauthorized immigrants because many undocumented immigrants cannot get a job other than low skill due to the lack of citizen identification that is required to have a high skill and high paying job. Therefore, many undocumented immigrants are in disposition for poverty. Many unauthorized immigrants move to America to escape their harsh and uncertain life in their native countries. A large portion of undocumented immigrants believe that the risk of being an illegal alien in the United States far outweighs staying in their native countries prior to their move. Therefore, many have hopes that citizens and office holders of America will be understanding due to their prior conditions, but this is not the case. Similar to the times of Martin Luther King, the government does not sympathize with those of inferiority. King says in his letter from Birmingham jail that I hope that the white moderate would understand. Just as many undocumented immigrants hope that the government of the United States would understand the struggles in their native countries. Even though the federal government does not allow undocumented immigration and is not sympathetic, it is a topic that is being pushed to lighten up on. Within the federal government, contradicting views in Congress and other branches make it difficult for new policies on unauthorized immigration to come up. These branches are controlled by opposing parties. However, both parties believe that immigration is a part of America and that's not going to be changed. However, unauthorized immigration is where these differing opinions create conflict. Democratic office holders typically believe that immigration law should be fairly lenient. For example, current United States Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, believes unauthorized immigrants should be welcomed into the United States with open arms. With the leader of the Democratic Party having open arms for illegal immigrants, many other Democrats in the government are going to have the same viewpoint. However, if you take a look at the right wing, illegal immigration is seen as absolutely intolerable. The Federation and Immigration Reform explains Donald Trump's beliefs through his plan, which involves the United States and Mexico having a wall in between their border to stop the undocumented immigration, which is one of Trump's biggest arguments in politics today. But since the federal government has jurisdiction over these immigration laws, it is up to the federal government as a whole to come up with a new solution regarding immigration. There are current policies in place, however, they are not completely effective. The White House published President Donald Trump's 2017 executive order in response to the illegal immigration crisis that targets interior enforcement of illegal immigrants who have overstayed their visas, sanctuary jurisdictions in which will be removed, and when unauthorized immigrants have committed an offense, they must be deported. Trump's relentless efforts to stop increasing unauthorized immigration have helped reduce the amount of unauthorized immigration in the U.S., but it is not the most effective way to solve the issue. As suggested by the Migration Policy Institute, interior enforcement would include employment verification, jail screenings, and enforcement by state and local governments. Interior enforcement would help reduce the amount of unauthorized immigrants who have either overstayed visas or have gotten through exterior enforcement. An exterior option would be effective in reducing the amount of drug trafficking in the U.S. brought by undocumented immigration. This would be a physical barrier along the border, which has been proposed by President Donald Trump continuously throughout his term in office, but it has been shut down by many Democratic legislators who refuse to comply with these actions. A large-scale barrier across the border would make it difficult for people who are trying to enter or trying to re-enter into the United States. But, however, this would be very costly to the federal government, which means that it would come out of the money of taxpayers. The most effective way to solve the amount of illegal immigration in the United States is to enforce current laws that we already have. Current legislation would be effective, however, it needs to be enforced. In North Carolina, Mecklenburg County received a large appropriation to try to solve the immigration crisis. This large appropriation was meant to be given to the Mecklenburg County law enforcement to enforce current immigration laws due to the increasing amount of illegal immigration that had come into the state. This plan, along with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, reduced the amount of unauthorized immigration into the state of North Carolina by 1/3. Policies regarding interior and exterior enforcement can help reduce the amount of unauthorized immigration into the United States, but it is absolutely essential that these policies are enforced. Enforcing these laws can be very challenging due to how widespread the issue is and how much money it would take from the federal government to solve these issues completely. However, if the federal government can successfully enact laws to control this issue, America can combat the issue of unauthorized immigration. Thank you.
All right. So, what evidence did you gather that you didn't use, and then why did you choose not to use it?
In the very beginning, I decided to look at some of the history so we can fully understand the extent of the problem today and how it arose. And I found a bunch of information on previously in the 1800s, such as the first immigration wave. There was a bunch of European and Asian origins which came to America. But as I did my research on more so today, I found that most of the immigration comes from Mexico and Latin America. So therefore, I tried not to go too into depth on Asian and European immigration in the 1900s.
Okay. What additional questions emerged from your research, and why are those questions important?
Additional questions that emerged from my research were definitely, well, like I said, Asian and European immigration was a prominent thing in the 1900s. So therefore, I was wondering, well, if it was prominent in the 1900s, how is it not so prominent today? So therefore, I was going to try to research, how are European and Asian immigration, such as undocumented immigration, how is that affecting American lives, and is it impacting it as much as Mexican and Latin American immigration?
Okay. Thank you.